Okay, welcome to a new week, a new me. No, I'm just kidding. I've said that a couple of times, I think. This week is hopefully I'm going to get some more shop time, but I think I'm going to do 3 days this week with Courtney again, and then the weekend I don't actually we don't have a horse show or anything planned, but I have to. I'm going to keep it open just in case Courtney adds something. But I should get some more time in the shop for the next video through the weekend. So who knows what we'll have done by then. I haven't done anything new since the end of the last video, so there's no update really. I just moved some things around. I'm going to clean the crap out of this place, but I made a couple of hooks actually. I did do something new. Here, I'll show you. They're still drying a little bit, but I'm not worried about them because they don't actually work the way I want them to, but I like them. So I made some more padded or stall hooks. So we'll bring them a little closer. So they just got the bigger back hook, so it just gives it a little bit more stability, or so I had thought it would happen that way. And then they're a little bit shorter, so the whole point was of these hooks were to be the ones that I would put with the ribbon holders, and so they would sit in and then sit back like that. And I did very square-like of the hooks, and then I went and tested them out on a stall, and they just leaned forward. One of the reasons why I wanted the hook to be really big at the back is to pull some of the weight to the back of the hook. It just didn't do enough. Especially like I just tried it with this board, and it still pushed it forward and whatnot. So I'm still humming and hawing. My next, I painted a couple of the hooks that I had on the bench here. So the two square ones that I made on the bench, and these are longer, and so they actually reach to the bottom of the next bar on the stall, and so they'll keep themselves upright. So I'm using those for the foreseeable future anyway. But I made these. I like these hooks. They just didn't do what I wanted them to do, so I'm going to try to find a way to still use them for them or something. Like maybe I'll cut off the back hook, and then these will just be attached to, or I'll cut off the bottom hook and then attach these to the boards themselves. So then the boards just have hooks. They're just really heavy. So I could do it the other way, actually. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll put them aside, let them finish drying. So there was that. That's all I did. Yesterday I made about 4 or 5 hooks to try to get there. You can see I added another one up there. I took the pink one down, and I'm repainting it because Courtney wants it back. But you can see up there that I added another short hook. And that was my first one. It didn't go well, and then the next 2 came out really well. So there's that. And then I did make a third hook for Potter's tack box that Courtney wanted. She wanted so I made a hook. This is a chunkier version of the other ones that I'm letting dry there, but it's for his tack box to hold tack and stuff. So nobody will see it very often, but Courtney wanted a blue one, so that's what she got. As far as this week is concerned, my next project that I want to do is in the shop, but it's a bigger project, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done in a week, but we can brainstorm it right now. I only have about an hour or 45 minutes, half an hour, I don't know. Very little amount of time here to brainstorm what we're going to do. So I'm going to push this guy out of the way. I'm going to move some stuff. I got garbage. I'm going to take the garbage out this week for sure. But we'll move this guy out of the way, and we'll bring in the cart, and we're going to brainstorm how we're going to make the cart hold jump standards and whatnot. So let's just do that. Heavy-duty steel garden cart. And I think its load capacity, they said, is 1,200 pounds, which is crazy. Ow. Just smacked my head on the TV. Ooh, it's okay. Anyway, I don't like squeezing back there anyway. So I haven't inflated the tires properly yet. So they're still pretty flat, and that's by design. I'm not going to take it out and inflate them. But this cart is, I think, perfect. I think I want to make the handle longer because we got to put 8-foot, 10-foot, and potentially 12-foot poles on this thing. So, and this is only 4 feet long. And so it's going to have to hang off the front a bit. And I'm okay with it if I'm, like, here gives me an extra 2-ish feet. And I think the poles should be in the middle. So, you know, tippy-wise. And then the standards can slide it on the sides. I'm going to bring in a couple of poles and a couple of standards for us to test out. Probably in the next little bit here. But yeah, so, but this is the cart I bought for this. I made sure it was on sale and cheap. There was used ones that I kept on looking at, but they all had messed up tires. So people just overworked them. But anyway, the sides of these come off. Which is pretty cool. So because we don't really need them. And I'm sure there's a project in the future we could probably use. But they just come straight up. I was really hoping that they would lay flat. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I can just extend the base of it. So we're just going to have to build something that does that. And so with the load capacity, these are really light, these things. I was really hoping they'd be heavier just because then I wouldn't be as concerned about using them using wood. And then this flat, this is just nothing that we need. We don't want this at all. So all this stuff we don't care about. So I'm hoping there's something in the future we can use some of this for. Just a little project, something we can make that for. This is the cart that we want to use. It's a plastic handle. I think I might change that. But it says it's a 1,200 pound capacity, but this is so flimsy. But we'll see. We will see. So my thought process here is that I'm going to use some more cedar fence boards, I think. Just because I have them. And they're easy to get a hold of and whatnot. And I don't want to use anything heavy. Because the stuff we're going to put on here is pretty heavy as it is. So my thought process was building a channel down the center. Or maybe we'll even just build a full wooden base. Maybe I'll go get a piece of plywood. Like I'll go buy a sturdy piece of plywood. We do have this, something that's going to be good in the rain. We have to make sure, just in case they leave the cart out. But something like this, maybe. This I bought, this melamine or whatever, MDF. I bought this for the planer. We're going to make a planing sled with it because it's perfectly flat and all that kind of stuff. But something this size, this is really heavy. Maybe not something so heavy. But this is exactly that. And so maybe a little bit wider. Probably at least a foot wider on either side. And then a channel down the center. I don't know. I want to make it as light as possible, so maybe I just build the skeleton and then just add to it as I go for rigidity purposes. I think maybe adding something like this might be just too much right away. Let's see. So if we take a fence plank and we put it in this orientation. Here, let's do this. We'll lay it down here. Well, maybe we'll use one of the long ones. See, I keep changing my mind as we go. That's why we're discussing this. We're hashing this out. Now, I don't know if these are going to be sturdy enough, so I might have to stick 2 of them together and then do this because I don't want... So we'll do this. That'll work. There's a little bend here in in the handle, and I want this to come right to where the bend is. Beautiful. And then we take, maybe this is a 5-foot board, but imagine it's a 4-foot board. So we'll take a full foot off the top of it. But we take these, we cut them into 4-foot boards, and then we potentially try to cut the scoops in to hold the poles. Now the poles are about, I don't know, 6 inches in diameter. And so it would be really hard to do just one on either side, matchy-matchy. And so I'm trying to figure out if maybe I offset them. That could work. If I offset them and then this board, so if we go so we set them up like this. Now again, these will probably be double thick. We set them up in this kind of orientation. Now the stability of these comes into play, I think, of can they hold the weight of all these poles, especially higher up. So we'd have to make like, we'd only need, like, I was thinking about doing 3, so one on the end here. They don't need to come all the way to the end, but they come one on the end here, one in the middle, and then one there, or even one further out for the 12-foot boards so they're not like pulling the cart back too much. And then maybe if we do this, I can put a strip down the center to hold the boards, and then do a crisscrossy thing to try to hold just give it some more stability. But I don't know how much space in between the poles that I would need. So that's another experimentation for when we have the poles in here. And I also don't want the poles to go right to the ground, because the standards have bases, like the base of the standards are most of them are just big X's like this, not as thick, but they're like this. And so I'd want to slide it in under the pole to hold the standard. And so I'm hoping that at least 4 standards can fit. They're not going to be able to put all of their jumps on this. The thing is that they can put 4 standards at least, if we don't make it bigger, but I think 4 standards is fine. They can fit 4 standards, jump standards. So 2 on that side, 2 on this side. They just have to weave them in there. And then also they can put 6 to 8 poles on here. Excuse me. So, with that being said, we would probably put another set of planks here and here on either side here, just for continuity, in the sense that everything is the same level. So do something like that. We build the pole holders in the center. And they start off of the ground. We're going to cut the bottoms out of this stuff. I'm wondering if I use 2x4s, if I go and buy some 2x4s. Because they'll just give me a better strength. Or 2x6s anyway. Because these 1x6s is just not. I can go buy cedar 2x6s. Like I could buy one 8-foot cedar 2x6 and it would probably work out. Instead of having to glue them together and stuff. Probably be cheaper. I end up using less wood. So if I go and I get like even see my truck, I don't want to. I can cut it down though at the store. We could. So I think they sell them in 12 foot. I could get them to cut them down to the 4 foots for me. So I'd have 3 4 foots. Oh, I'd need 6 4 foots, right? Yeah. If I'm gonna put them out like that. Yep. That makes sense. But either way, all of this will get secured to the base of this guy with some bolts and nuts. So I just put some holes in, bolt and nut it, so it's just there. Right? We'll clean up the boards. We're not going to make it look. We're not going to stain these boards and all that kind of stuff. I'll throw some top coat on it just to give it some rigidity against the elements, but I'm not going to. I'll just top coat it after it's all done. But I want the whole thing to be able to be lifted off this cart and moved to the bed of a truck or anything else. This is just the cart it's going to be built for, but it should be movable. So then when they're moving their jumps from the indoor arena to the outdoor arena, or the outdoor arena is huge, and so if they want to set up their jumps on this cart, then drag them to where they want in the arena, this is a lot easier than carrying one standard at a time. And some of these ladies are older ladies, and let's just make it a little bit easier on them. That's the whole thing. And that's another reason why I didn't fill up the tires, is because it's a sand arena out there. And so I don't want them to be fully inflated. I want them to be able to move with, especially when it rains and then dries, it gets all hard and that kind of stuff. And I don't need this wobbling all over the place on them. But there'll be bungee cords hanging off of it and stuff so they can slap it and bungee and all that kind of stuff. So that's the basic plan. So obviously I have to go shopping. I'm going to have to get some nuts and bolts with some washers for the base. I think I'll pick up some pine 2x4s and we'll throw some coating on those just to do the rigidity, the skeleton rigidity aspect of this. And then we'll buy the 2x6. It's basically the exact same thing, but just 2x6, the 2x6 instead of the 1x6. And we just want it just a little bit thicker and less knotty, so then when I cut into it, it doesn't have the potential to just snap off on me. And then, we'll put some coating on it. And so I think I got to figure out how many poles per jump they generally have. I think it's 3, but it could be 4. So if they're going to have 2 full jumps worth, I need to be able to put 8 poles on this thing. And we're going to measure for 10-foot poles. 12-foot poles are crazy. So I'm going to probably bring in a 10-foot pole in here. I know I cut the 8-foot poles before for them. I think Courtney wants 8-foot jumps, but I think her trainer is more of a 10-foot jump lady. So we'll just make sure it's all accounted for. So 10-foot, we want 10-foot poles to sit on this thing. So that means, let's actually take a look at this. These are 6-foot boards. So we need to be able to have it like 8 foot. So 10 foot is out to here. You can't see that here. I don't know if that worked. Nope. But anyway, 10 foot's out here, so it's pretty. It's pretty long. But we could afford to go maybe a foot that way. If we make the handle longer, we can go 2 feet longer. So then we're just. This is wrong. This is 10 foot. I was off by a whole foot there. I was at the 9-foot mark. So yeah, you guys, yeah. So off the screen. But I think if we build it in such a way that the poles can just slide in, but they can't tilt back this way. Yeah, so I could just, yeah, I can do like a crescent or either a crescent or what is it, like an oval with an opening. So it just slides in there. And then if it does tilt, it won't just tilt up and slide off. We'll want it to be caught in some way. Or I could just add something to the standards like a clip or bungee cord like we were talking about. So we would slide them into the 2x6. And then again, the standards, we'll have to make sure that 4 of them can fit on here. So if we have to extend it a little bit in every direction, so be it. But that's my cue. I need to actually go grocery shopping. So when we return, hopefully I'll have a little bit more idea on how I want this to do. Okay, I have a load of stuff to just pull on in here, and then I'll let you know what's going on. I should have cleaned up and figured this out before I did this, but I got to do it now. So let's make some space a little bit here. This will be our general work area, so I need to move some. Oh my gosh, push it. All right, bear with me. Okay, so those are for the trolley, the thing we're talking about. The 2x10s, I found, or 2x12s. I found 2x12s, and I think I could just use, but they're cutting at the Home Depot. Their saw was broken, so I was going to buy a 12-foot one and just bring 3 pieces, but I had to buy 2 8-foot ones, so I'm going to have a leftover piece. And then the 2x4s are for the braces in between, and all that kind of jazz. So that's what it's going to be, help us build the cart. But I got other stuff to bring in, so second. All right, I think I got everything in. So you can see that it's quite a little bit of an undertaking that I'm going to be trying to do within this week or so. There might be things that interrupt this project as we go forward. I'm now starting like a little bit of a shop page on Facebook because that's what people are telling me to do. People's like Courtney and my sister-in-law and whatnot. So I'll be doing that this week. And so if I do that and then people start asking me to make things, that will put whatever we're working on hold, I guess. So, yeah. But other than that, we'll just talk through this stuff really quick. So we talked a good deal about how we want the cart to kind of look. So I got 2x12s instead of two 2x6s. I think it gives us a little bit more free, like wiggle room on how deep the pole holes should be, the pole slots. Now these poles, I think, are 10 feet long, which is fine, but they might be 12. I'm not good at judging distance just yet, so. Oh yeah, they're 10 feet. So they have to stay the way they are. Because according to Courtney and her trainer and all that kind of stuff, indoor stuff is supposed to be is allowed to be 8 feet, but outdoor stuff should be 10 to 12 feet. That's why there's such a variance. I don't get it. I think 8 feet should be fine for everything, but it's fine. So either way, what we're going to try to do is we're going to work on the cart as we're waiting for paint and stuff to dry on the jumps. So what we're gonna do for the second time is we're gonna take 2 of the jump standards, these guys. We're gonna try our best to tighten them up and make them nice. Like you can see, like this is barely holding together, right? So we're gonna replace the screws, or we're gonna drive the screws that are in there. We're gonna flatten it out, and then we're gonna sand it down. This is definitely mask sanding. We're going to sand it down, and then we're going to paint it. So 2 of the standards are going to stay white. They should be redone white. So I think we're going to do these 2 as white. And then 2 of the standards are going to be done as black, as per Courtney's wishes, which is I'm fine with. So I bought a lot of different spray paint for that. I bought spray paint again, and I know I probably should have bought roller paint, like regular paint, but I didn't. I bought spray paint because I've been enjoying using it. But I bought these cans of paint, Rust-Oleum Paint and Primer Premium Flat Black. I don't like glossy stuff. And I can't find a pink paint. I'll get to that. Anyway, but it's got 5 different paint spray settings. So I think based on what part of what I'm spray painting, I figured that these cans would probably be okay. Custom spray. So I bought 2 black and 2 white of those. I'm hoping that will be enough for the standards and stuff. But this stuff is actually cheaper than all of the other spray paint, so I was actually pretty okay. And this stuff was pretty cheap too. This is the Behr premium premium indoor-outdoor spray paint. It's Potter's Color. So instead of using the glossy stuff that I got for the shoe, this is more of a wood, more all-around use, indoor-outdoor use. I'm still going to put a top coat on everything because it's going to be staying outside. So I was going to use the lacquer, but I don't like how glossy the lacquer makes everything look. So we will probably use the rust paint, the oil-based satin clear coat. It should be fine on the wood surfaces. If it's not, then we'll learn. But from my research yeah, it's good. It's fine. So I like the lacquer. I like the ease of use of the lacquer spray as well, but it's just not great. I just don't like how everything turns out glossy. I want flat black. I want flat black. And I can't find flat pink. I did find this in satin or flat. Satin, flat, same thing. So that's good. And I'll walk through what the jumps are going to look like. So I'm actually probably going to use the glitter paint for the pink one. So we are going to make a Potter jump, and we are going to make a Giggles jump for the first 2 jumps that we reset. So the first one we're going to make is probably the Potter jump. Just because I want to get, if I make mistakes on the Potter jump, I'm a little bit okay with that. So the standards get sanded down, they get re-screwed together, everything looks good. I bought more screws. I bought a tub of 3-inch screws because I don't think I had them. I have 2-inch screws and 2.5-inch screws, so I bought a little tub of 3-inch screws for this project specifically. Just so I know that we get a secure hold. And then, well, we'll talk about that. Get the chain. Okay. So one of the things, like sanding the standards is fine. I'll just use the orbital sander, will be fine. I'll use a low grit. I bought some like 40 grit, I think. What was it? What was it? 40, yeah. 40 grit sandpaper, so it should just tear the paint right off of that stuff. It's definitely a respirator mask wear endeavor. And then there's, hang on. And then there's how am I going to sand the poles? When I was making the grass covered poles, I'm pretty sure they were in a video. I know I did them really quick. I can't remember if I put them in a video. If I put the mounting block in a video, I'm pretty sure I put the other poles in the video. But I made two grass covered poles, if you can remember from a previous video. And I had a really hard time sanding the poles because the orbital sander, as orbital as it is, doesn't like going around curves. So I was like, what do I do? I don't have a belt sander. I don't have something that I can like roll them into or anything like that. So what I did is I found the thickest belts I could. These are 50 grit, 4-inch, 24-inch wide belts. And I'm just going to cut them, and I'm just going to sand with my hands and see how well that works. It's going to be a workout, and I'm excited for that part because I'm fat. So I just don't know. I got, because we destroyed our old sawhorses, I bought some cheap ones when they were on sale, some Craftsman's ones. So we're going to use that. So I'm going to sand the poles down with this method. I bought the 50 grit to just tear them up, and I bought 120 grit just in case I want to smooth them out a little bit. And then I got these little caps. Now these are the caps that go on top of fence posts. These are the same things as fence posts. And so I figured in order to keep them a little bit longer, we're going to cap them off. I just haven't decided if I want to paint two of them white because they only come in black. I haven't decided if I want to paint two of them white to match the white standards or not, but we'll see. I think it would be cool if I had black caps and then the black base and then the white standard, but that's not what Courtney wanted me to do. So that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do fully white standards and fully black standards. And then the poles, if you can make it out, they have sections of paint on them. So it's easier to show you here. Well, that one's easier to show you anyway. Hang on. This one's way easier. It's just to break it up a little bit. Right? So we got some green on the end, and then a white chunk, and then the middle is all one color. Right? And so this is a green pole, right? Because the white stands out from it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a blue, a Potter blue, for 4 of them, just like this. I'm going to look up some different designs of poles and see if I can mess around with it. But I think for the first couple of jumps, we're going to just be generic. And so we're going to do those 4 poles down there are going to be Potter's poles. Potter's poles. And they're going to make them blue, white, blue, white, blue. And then that's going to be white, and those will be Potter's poles. I'm wondering if maybe I paint the tops blue. Who knows? Anyway, so that's going to be Potter's jump. And then for giggles, it will be the same thing, except her standards are going to be fully black. And then she's going to have that sparkly pink, and then black, and then sparkly pink, and then black. And I think hers are going to be so good looking. I think Potter's are going to be good looking too. But I think I might even make, that's a really good idea we just thought about. I think, what if we do make the caps the colors of the poles? And so she has pink sparkly caps, and he has light blue caps as well. I think that sounds great. So anyway, I'm going to get started on this. I'm going to throw the baseball game on, and then when I come back, we'll see how far we've made it. It is Tuesday night, and it's pretty late in the evening, so I don't know how far I'm going to get, but there's a Spruce Meadows tournament this weekend. That Friday, my Friday is gone. So I have to try to get all this done only in the evenings for the next 3 days. And then also try to put the video out Thursday night or Friday morning. It might be a Saturday morning video, even though, because I usually put the videos out Friday evening. So Saturday morning is not a big stretch for me if I just stay up a little bit later on the Friday just to get it put out by Saturday morning. We'll see how it all goes. I think that's great. So anyway, we'll be back, and hopefully I have one whole set of jumps sanded and ready to be primed and painted. Okay. Oh. Oh. It's a little moist in that mask there. Don't worry, I put a new clean rag in my back pocket for when I took my mask off. It's not just like some dirty one that I picked up off the street. No, anyway. So, here, let me turn this light on here. So I've been sanding. So this is the next day, Wednesday. And yesterday I sanded for 2 hours. And today I've been sanding for about an hour. And I've gotten 2 standards and 1 pole done. So this is taking some time, but I knew it was going to take some time. Using this stuff, I just stepped all over it, but it does work. It does work the way I wanted it to, but so does using the sanding, the orbital sander. So the thing about that though is that these poles and parts of these standards are just tearing through my discs. It's like this is one I just put on to finish this standard up. It was just the base that I did, and it's just tearing up the discs. Specifically, I didn't put this one straight. Specifically the edges and some of the knot holes and that kind of stuff. It's just splintery, fractured wood that's getting lodged through the thing. So I might, for the next jump, is pick up a cheap like corded belt sander. It might make it more dusty. That's something I have to talk about too, is holy dust. I'm running the vacuum at full tilt. I've got the collection on, I got the mask on, I got everything going on, but I don't know if you can see the floor, but it's just covered. And then so I'm gonna have to blow off everything in here before I even start the forge up again when we do our next metalworking project. So I gotta keep that in mind, is let's not have a crap ton of dust everywhere when I light a fire. But for now, this will all just sweep up and vacuum up just fine. I'm trying to keep it contained into this part of the shop, because the back part of the shop where you guys are is going to be where all the painting happens. I don't have a lot of room in here. Like every step I take is stepping over something right now. So I really want to get this guy built. I don't think it's going to happen by the end of this week's video. This week's video is probably going to have to be maybe I'll do a part 1, part 2 kind of thing. So like week 17 or whatever week this is, I can't remember. We'll do the wagon jumps, the jump wagon and jumps, whatever, part 1, and then the finale next week. Because, oh man, I'm really close to starting the painting part, so that's really good. But what I have to do right now is I had a problem that I have to solve, and so I'll show you on one of the rank ones. I'll show you the stark difference between these guys and one of the ones we haven't done yet. I love the way it's looking, so it's good there. But either way, the thing I have to do is plug the holes. And I'll show you why on this disaster of one. That one's a disaster too. Some of the holes are like 2 or 3 wide. It's like somebody re-drilled the holes 7 times. It's ridiculous. Don't fall. Okay. All right, so this one is gnarly. I haven't re-secured the base, so it's still really loose down there. There's some massive cracks through this standard. I don't care about the cracks. I think it gives it character. I don't think there's any danger of this thing just blasting apart or anything, but there is one major crack way down through here, but it doesn't seem to have any give to it, so I think I'm going to leave it. But one of the things I have to do is all of these holes that spiders like to live in, apparently. Oh, I hate spiders, but I had to knock a couple out of there. So I went back to the Home Depot because there was a couple of things I forgot to grab. I forgot to grab the bolts and washers to secure the wagon, so I got those. Then I picked up some 4-foot 7/16 dowels. Now these, and I'm cutting them into 3.5-ish, some a little bit longer, some a little bit shorter, for the main reasons that these standard posts aren't all the exact same dimensions. So I'm going to try to match the dimensions as much as possible so there's less cutting and sanding afterwards. I thought maybe I should just glue it, stick it in, and then cut it off. You know what? That probably would have been better. I can do that with a couple if I'm short. But what I'm going to do is, even before I sand these two, I'm going to get all of this gluing done. And I want to do it within the next, well, these two here have to be done in the next half an hour because I need to go to bed. I'll get a long day tomorrow. And then hopefully tomorrow evening I can come in and actually throw a coat of paint on one of these and see what's coming alive. Anyway, so you can see this standard. So what these holes are for, I don't know if I showed you guys when I first brought them in, is the jump cups. Now these jump cups look like this. Now these are the ones that people don't like the most, but this is the most used jump cup. It's really funny. There's ones that have keyhole tracks. You'll see that on the side of the standard it will be like a metal or even a plastic track with keyhole shapes cut out of it, and then they have little plastic cups that sit in the keyhole, so you can move the cups up and down really easy. Those are the best ones. That's what we're going to be working on eventually. But keyhole track is very expensive. It's only really used in horse jumping and dog jumping, and so there's a huge premium on it if you try to order it or buy it. Hardware stores don't sell it, right? So you have to get it from these places that make it specifically for these jumps and stuff. And I'm so upset that that's a thing. So two of the things that I'm looking into is I'm going to scour Facebook Marketplace fairly regularly. I have it in my saved searches for just used horse jumps or whatever that I can go and tear keyhole track off of, because people just throw this stuff out. And that keyhole track is worth a lot of money. So I can get keyhole track that way. My second thought was, hey, I know somebody that does some 3D printing on the side and stuff like that. Can that person potentially 3D print me some tracks? And they don't have to be, like, they can break. They generally won't. It's the cups that will fall off. Or like the poles will fall off the cups, and the cups will fall off first before anything else on the standard breaks. So 3D printing, as long as it's a firmer plastic, we're using the firmer filament, it should be fine. And so we could 3D print it in, say, 1 foot sections, and then I can just slap it on there and then 3D print the cups too. So those are two things, but I don't have a 3D printer, and I don't know if my friend there will want to do that much 3D printing without me paying them a pretty penny for it. So anyway, these ones have a pin that just slide into the cup. The cup has a hole in it. Well, this one's got 2 in it for some reason, and they're not very far apart. But anyway, and so they just go here, put it in, put it through the pole. Voila, your jump cup's there. The pole rests on there. You match it on the other side, and Bob's your uncle. However, you can see there's a vast difference between even, say, well, we can use this one as an example. This one, where the holes are relatively straight, but they're not. And they have some kind of rudimentary distance between them, 3 3¼ 3½ 3¼ So, and then there's this one's way down here for some reason. And I think that's where my starting point would be. And I would just put a whole bunch in there. And I would make it so that every hole puts the cup at a specific height. So generally, there's stuff called cross rails and the lowest stuff. But like jumping starts at 0.6 meters. And then it goes up by 10 usually. So 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 9, and then a meter, and then a meter 10. We don't need meters here. But I would go up to whatever that is. That's a meter is probably a belly button or up here. Right? And then I would make sure that the cup's there. And I'm going to research as to why one is so low. I'm wondering if like hunters or something have an even lower, like a 0.4 or something like that. And that one's why that one's down there. Either that or somebody just randomly drilled holes and like have fun. But I'm going to take the measurements and I'm going to do it right. And so what I want to do is I want to plug all these holes and start fresh. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to use, because we're going to plug all the holes, we're going to plug all the holes, and then leave it overnight or days or whatever it comes. And we're going to, from there, we're going to sand it smooth again. This is why I'm going to do these ones their own way some other time. My maraca mallet. And then, oh, you can see that I'm wearing my overalls because I came in yesterday, I was sanding in jeans, and it was a disaster. Oh my God. So I finally busted out the overalls. So make fun of me if you will, but I'm wearing the overalls. So I think the best thing to do is just start. So we should probably test them first. Make sure, see that one's pretty long. We'll grab some of the short ones too. These ones should be the long ones. And then this side over here should be the short ones. I like having the coveralls. Look at that. Beautiful. Short one. So yeah, it's still going to stick out a little bit, but it's going to work. So now we're just going to, it's going to leak out onto the floor. I don't know what I'm doing. We're just going to give it a nice good, because it's Gorilla Glue, and everybody hates Gorilla Glue, we're just going to just let it slide up in there, spin it, drop it, spin it, drop it, spin it, spin it, drop it, spin it. There we go. We'll do another one, and another one. All right, there we go. Grab my weird face mask. Grab some of this glue. Even though I'm going to sand it anyway. I'm going to sand that all up anyway. No glue drippage to the other side. That's good. All right, so we're going to stand this side. I got this guy up. And then I'm going to put dowels in the other one, and then I'm going to go to bed. All right, thanks. Look. Pretty dusty. I think it's raining outside. It is. It's raining. Heard a little bit of thunder too. I love rainstorms. Like most people. Most people like rainstorms. I don't know why. It's calming, I guess. That's why one of the best sleep aid musics is rainforest. However, 2 standards, 4 poles, sanded. Now, over my process of trying to figure out how I'm going to sand the poles, there was many different methods that not many, like 3. One of them was just like we talked about with the, hang on. With the strip of sandpaper. This is still the very first one, so I think I overdid it with the, but I still have 4 more pulls to go, and who knows how many pulls to go in the future. So doing the part of the sanding works. It works really well. I am not in shape enough to do that for very long. So I do it as much as I can because I think it's a good workout. And so why not get a workout in when you can? Obviously I clamp it down better, but it works. But it's slow, obviously, because I got to do that all the way down and then rotate it, do that all the way down, and you got to rotate it like 4 times. So, well, 3 times, but in order to get all of it. And then it looks a little liney, but I mean, the liney is fine. I decided about maybe halfway through the second pull that I'm not here to clean off every bit of old, like I'm not here to make every bit clean and completely sanded on these things. What I'm here for is to get rid of all of the loose paint and loose wood chips and all of the stuff that would affect the paint and the primer and the top coat that I'm going to put on these from just falling off, because a piece of paint from underneath flaked off and it took everything else with it, or a piece of loose wood finally flaked out of there. So my goal was to use as low of grit as possible. So 50 and 40 was what I was using. The orbital sander has 40, and the big guys are 50 because that's the lowest they came in. And just shear off the outside of these poles, and I think it did really, really well. As you can see, obviously you can see lines. This one's actually not as bad, but like there's, let's see if I can do this without shaking you to death. I don't know if you can see this one, but you'll see that there's obviously lines, because I did figure out a way to use the drill and the long sandpaper. Now I did it the first way. the motor in that drill started smoking. And the second way is way better, but it requires a lot more mess. So doing it that way just messed my floor up. I don't know if you can see how nasty the floor is with your angle and on camera, but it's pretty nasty. So I got to clean it up. Even over here in the forging area, it's pretty gnarly, but we knew that going in. The first way that I tried, I didn't film it, and I wish I did a little bit, but I think it was fairly unsafe. The way I was trying, I was trying ways, and you're trying to find ways to make it safe and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to maybe promote an unsafe way of things. If it worked, but it was really unsafe, I didn't want to promote that. So this hole should give me a 60 centimeter or a 0.6 meter cup or blah, 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 blah. I'm so nervous. Why am I nervous? I did the math, right? 6 centimeters lower is 54, which is good. 60. So I put this here. I didn't account for the sag. So maybe it's 55. If I do this, and then it sags, how much is it going to sag? About a centimeter. Maybe I caught myself here. Maybe I do a centimeter. I wish I had a smaller piece of this thing. I don't think I have something similar to it anywhere. Yeah, okay. It's perfect if I do it in the middle. Okay. We got it. We're good. We're here. We've done it. We're going to drill it. Where do I do my marks? Every 10 here. That one's straight because I learned from my mistakes. The battery is probably what was giving me the sense that I was moving myself down. I wasn't compensating for the weight of the battery. Anyway, so now all the holes are drilled. So let's do some setup if we can get it in frame. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a horse jump with only one pole on it. Normally there's 3 to 4 or some filler in the bottom. So the flower boxes that we made actually sit under the jump to just give them some more scary value, but so the horses have more to look at or not look at. But yeah, so jumping over this is what Courtney wants to aspire to by the end of this year. It's not too bad. Let's just make sure it's where we want it to be. Moment of truth, people. It's about half a centimeter lower. But remember, we used the top. We used the top hole. So if we use the bottom hole, we're golden. So that works exactly the way we want it. This is a cross rail. This is where, when you're warming up, practicing, there are classes for beginners where they jump cross rails. Obviously, they're not this high. Usually, cross rails are down on the lower ones, and then they just use them for warming up and stuff. But yeah, that's basically the gist of this here. Once we get one of the jumps fully done and painted and all that kind of stuff, we'll be we'll show you exactly what it looks like. It's raining out there. One of the things I wanted to do is a before and after picture, because I was going to take the one that we haven't fixed yet, set it up outside, and take a picture, and then have after pictures of what both of the jumps look like after. Unfortunately, it's raining outside, so we'll have to wait to do that. I don't know how much time I'll have tomorrow to come in the shop. So it might just be I'll walk in and be like, I got no more time. Because I have to go to bed now. Well, soon to bed. I'm going to go and have a drink and relax for a few minutes before I go to bed. We don't have any work tomorrow, but it's the Spruce Meadows Day, and Courtney wants to go by noon. So she's got a lesson in the morning. So if I wake up early in the morning and then come in the shop, we get some painting done, because that's the step we're on here. The step we're on here is set up a place to get the painting done back here behind you guys. And then make sure that I'm not painting the shop. So I have a lot of cardboard set up there, and so I want to do that. Yeah, so we're going to get the standards painted all white, and then the caps that we're going to put on there will be different colors. We'll just do it at the end. I'm not going to do it now. And I'm thinking about adding like a strip of blue to the standards. I know that Courtney didn't say she wanted any blue on the standards, but I want blue on the standards, especially for Potter's Jump. And I was thinking, just because they're going to have a blue cap on the top of the standard, I was thinking about painting a little blue strip on the bottom there. I think it would look nice. Or I just paint these things blue. No, that's too much. That's too much blue. She wouldn't like that. I don't know if I'd like that either. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what the mood strikes me. Okay. Anyway, so we'll be back for sure. I'll come and talk to you guys, but we don't know what we'll be doing. If I wake up early enough tomorrow, I can come in here and get some painting done, and then I go to Spruce Meadows. We do the whole thing, and then in the evening I can edit a video and put it together. So anyway, all right. Let's see me walking in the door or something. Ta-da! All right. So it is the next morning. Like I said, I'm hopefully going to be here for a little bit this morning before we have to go. So the first things first is we want to figure out how we want to get these guys painted. And the standards should be fairly easy to paint. And I think I came up with kind of an idea on how I want to do the different colors on the standards, but we'll get to that in a little bit here. So we'll move the standards off to the side. It's going to be difficult when it tries to because obviously this isn't perfectly rounded, so let's go again over here. I forgot to open the door that whole time, so I would just open the door, turn the fan on. This should clear out pretty quick. I was just concentrated on what I was doing, trying to figure out how many cans of spray paint I'm going to freaking need. This one is almost completely empty, and we only did 8 strips. I'm going to brush myself off here real quick. All right. So, yeah, I'm wondering if I should pick up some regular paint and see if that works for at least the white and black stuff. I don't know if I can find, like, I can't find pink sparkly paint in roller paint, I'm pretty sure. And then this blue paint, this is going to be, the blue paint should be easier to find. But, yeah. So these guys are done, so I'm going to move them over to just behind you guys there and give them some time. And then we're going to bring the standards in. And I'm going to cut the 2 inches off of each of the standards. And then we're going to actually try to use those pieces for something in the future. So, or for the bottoms, I'll show you. So give me a second, and I'll clear this out, and we'll keep going from there. So yeah, part 1 of getting the jumps built. We didn't even touch the wagon. Because right now would be the time we would do the wagon. Because we were going to wait for paint to dry. I thought this was all going to be just a cakewalk. We'd throw some paint on there, some paint on there. Over here, we're working on the thing. Didn't work out that way. But we're learning some lessons. I think I'm going to pick up a cheap corded belt sander just to help us get the second jump done quicker. We're going to fill the holes in that. And so like, yeah, fill the holes and then get them all sanded, and then we can prime them up. But we're going to continue on this one. So hopefully we get, this will be dry by tomorrow. Hopefully I get a chance to come in here and mess around a little bit. Put a second coat on everything. And then after the second coat's on everything, then I can swap the tape around on the poles and then prime and paint the color part of everything and put it all together, and then we can finally have a complete jump. So after our second coat tomorrow, if I can come, I think there's time for me tomorrow to have a couple hours to come in here. But I'm so I'm pretty sure, if not Sunday morning for sure. But I can paint, and then we'll camera and start working on the wagon. Because that stuff's just sitting over there mocking me. We need to use it. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks very much. And my shop is a disaster. Doing these jumps is not fun in this shop. So I'm wondering if in the future I do them outside. Maybe we'll set up a canopy or whatever, a little painting and sanding sesh outside. I think we could do that. We'll have to talk to the barn manager, see if she's okay with that, but it should be fine. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'm going to head to the show. Bye.